We want to talk about Kash Patel's testimony. So, Frost, do you have any insight on this? Kash Patel testifying before Congress?
Yeah, so there's multiple things going on here with Kash Patel right now, who is one of Pam Bondi's employees as the director of the FBI. He's testifying both about his handling of the Epstein files and the investigation into Charlie Kirk's assassination in Utah. So just to give you some facts on this, on Tuesday and Wednesday, Democrats mainly criticized Patel's handling of the Kirk assassination investigation, particularly his actions on the night of the shooting. Now, there's lots of clips of people kind of grilling him, yelling at him, the way these congressional hearings always go.
It is my
I follow
time.
you on your social media posts that
It is
tear
my
this country
time
apart.
to address
there should be a
your
unifying.
falsehoods.
Oh,
You are an
you can try
embarrassment
all
to the
you
division
want
in this country.
to not take
It is my
responsibility
time.
for what
You
you
had
have
your
said.
time.
Sir, you're
Your
making
time
a
is
mockery of this
over.
committee. Sir, you don't tell me my time is over.
You
The
know how
people
far
of New
we've
Jersey
come
tell me
since
what my
you
time
tell-
is.
Senator-
You can't lecture me.
You can tell me
Sir,
my time's over?
You may be the charge of the
I'm
FBI.
not going anywhere.
One representative pointed out that while the suspected shooter remained at large, Patel was dining at a Manhattan restaurant and was not at FBI headquarters.
You swear to release the Epstein files, but now you're withholding the Epstein files. You claim that you have a suspect in a serious assassination. Whoops, then you don't have a suspect.
When Charlie Kirk was assassinated, while his killer was still on the loose, you decided you didn't need to be at FBI headquarters in Washington to work with your team while the chaotic manhunt unfolded. You spent your evening dining in a swanky Midtown Manhattan restaurant and tweeting out false information that the subject of the shooting was in custody, a statement you had to retract 1 hour later.
Definitely not a good look for Mr. Patel. Patel also faced criticism for incorrectly posting on social media that the suspect was in custody. And now it's funny that he's being called on to testify right now. Obviously, he and Pam Bondi both are really in the hot seat. They were even before this Kirk thing over the Epstein files. So these are not popular people in the United States of America right now. Would you say, Dewey?
No, and it's funny because we've also covered a story recently about how this first Trump term, well, specifically the first year of this Trump term, has seen much more stability than the first year of his previous term as president of the United States. Far fewer firings of high-level administration officials, no turnover at the chief of staff post. If you recall, Trump started out his first term with Reince Priebus, formerly the chairman of the RNC. He gets Trump apparently to the extent that you can trust this reporting, but he allegedly would talk about Reince Priebus scurrying around the Oval Office like a rat. And then also you had Anthony Scaramucci in his post as comms director for like 10 days. And essentially you had all this turnover in the first term. You had several cabinet members step down, and you just had all this chaos. And this has been a much more stable administration, generally speaking, with the exception of the Matt Gaetz sort of pulled nomination and a couple other issues like that. But now you're seeing some serious heat from his base toward both his attorney general and the director of the FBI. So this could be the biggest sort of speed bump, if you want to call it that. Some might also call it just a straight up debacle. But this would be the first big sort of shakeup in the Trump White House if Patel and Bondi don't make it through all this.
Yeah, the Patel thing to me is particularly funny just because I remember listening to Steve Bannon talking at the time that Patel was nominated, and they were like, there was no guy they were higher on than Patel. Mm-hmm. And they wanted Patel to be the attorney general. I mean, they were all fired up about him. And now they pretty much turned on him 100%. In fact, I heard Steve Bannon say recently, I want the old Patel back.
Wow.
So that's a funny angle there.
Well, you know, I always wonder sort of what happens to people when they get in office, because it makes me think, you know, I remember saying this when we were on Julian Dory's podcast recently, talking about this, like the equivalent of Kash Patel saying Epstein killed himself, he wasn't murdered, and basically saying there's no smoking gun in the Epstein file. That would be the equivalent of Dave Smith or Tucker Carlson getting in the office and all of a sudden becoming adamantly pro-Israel. Like, that's pretty much the equivalent. And so the question is there almost like more corruption, or is there far less than we realize? And it really depends on your starting point with the government. If you have a friendlier view of the government, you might just say, oh, these people in these hot air balloons get in there, and then they realize it's actually much more complicated. There are other considerations that the public can't be privy to, or that there isn't some grand conspiracy. It's much more bureaucratic and narrow than people think. Or if you're very skeptical of the government, they feel all these threats, they feel the intoxicating effects of power, whatever it might be, and all of a sudden they totally change their tune and give into it. So anyways, it really depends on your starting point with the government. But that's essentially what's happened is they've totally shapeshifted. And so that's where we are now.